So here we are at the Atlanta airport, and I'll be on a plane bright and early to head to Peon.
I am at MFI, so the reality of where I'm heading is setting in. Still super excited, but I would say there's nerves today that there wasn't yesterday. Praying that God will show me where He wants me to go, show me the people that I'm supposed to help, the stories that He wants me to share.
There's the plane that I'm getting on to fly to Haiti. I'm just gonna video so Jess can like freak out when she watches it. I don't know about running though.
You know, one of the things that I'm being challenged with is seeing God's beauty in everything. I get so focused on my day-to-day that I lose sight of the fact that there's beauty. God's beauty is everywhere.
Yeah. Lots of thoughts.
Mm-hmm. Is that overwhelming?
Yeah, I mean, maybe not yet. Like, yes, it is, but like, I'm just like sensory overload right now.
Yeah.
And we're gonna buy a machete, so there's that.
Okay.
Simba, one day all of this will be yours.
Early morning mountain climb, Mount Pignon, Haiti. I better catch up. I'm falling behind since I stopped to do my video. Video 2, a little sweatier, but pretty sweet background. We made it to the top. Here's my selfie entry. I'm not sweating, you're sweating. Christy told us that we were bringing a machete up to a guy who farms on the mountain, and in my head, I'm kind of like, okay, you know, that's obviously at the foothill of the mountain. On the way up, he passed us in flip-flops, no less. Christy gave him the machete, and so I kept thinking like, oh, okay, so around this next turn, this is where this guy's gonna be. Well, I mean, he's just down on the other side there. I mean, it's gotta be 3/4 of the way up the mountain, right? And growing corn, he's willing to climb this mountain on a very regular basis to make sure that his crops are doing okay. He's doing it all with a machete. He's coming up 1,100 feet to grow corn so that he can provide for himself and potentially his family. And for me, that's just another example of how different life is here. The things that we take for granted, I can already tell that's gonna be a resounding theme for me, like what in our life is really necessary.
Just to hear that someone lives on a dirt floor versus seeing the dirt floor, it's new. It's starting to get an understanding of what the things cost here. That almost adds another element to it because you can make a big difference with what seems like not a huge amount of my monthly budget. You know what I mean? Like, it's not like, you can't say, oh, I can afford to help them. It's like, yeah, you can. I mean, if you even give $25 a month, you're like, that can go so far.
I think one of the biggest things that's on my mind right now is, how does God want us to live? A lot of the way that we live in the Western US is just over the top. We don't need for anything. Poverty creates desperate faith. Poverty requires faith. I mean, the people that we've talked to, the people that we're interacting with, they have to have faith or they don't have anything else. Comfort really kind of produces complacent faith. But that's something that I'm wrestling with right now, is how much do we need?
When Christy said the gal that's stuck at the hospital because she can't pay her bill, I'm like, I can pay that bill. I should pay that bill. And then it's like, no, dude, you just had to put $1,200 on a credit card so you could fix your van. Like, so that's gonna be the hardest part for me, I think, is just knowing that this is here and figuring out a way that I can do a better job of helping and not completely just going, oh, we gotta sell the house. Like, we can live in a 2-bedroom apartment and save money, you know, like, because I'm a little nutso that way, you know. Yesterday when we were down by the river taking a picture of that really cool tree, I mean, the woman basically offered her child to Christy. I mean, she saw, 5 white people and was like, take my kid. And I about broke down right there. You know, it's like, she knows, or in her head, she knows that her child would have a better life if she just handed him off to 5 complete strangers simply because of the color of our skin. And that is just, I mean, that just blows my mind. I mean, perspective is just, yeah, I think I've been holding a lot in, just seeing how raw it is here. We take a lot for granted. It's easy to let go of the things that I've been stressing about when you see people who are living on dirt floors and people who are thankful for 1 meal a day. I think that's part of the reason why even after that first half day here, I was like, my family needs to come here. There's things that we can do different so that we can help more. Learning more about other people who are also God's children, the way that they're living and the struggles that they face on a daily basis. The problems that I face seem pretty easy to deal with when stacked up against, where's my next meal gonna come from? Am I gonna be able to keep a roof over my head? Am I gonna be able to send my kid to school? Am I gonna be able to get my kid to the doctor when he or she is sick? These are all things that I just take for granted. 2 little neighbor boys, brothers, walked over from down the way or next door, asked me immediately if I had any food, and I told them no. And then they asked for money and I told them no. And then they asked for food and I told them no. And it was uncomfortable because I know that they're legitimately hungry. I know that they don't have money. It was more uncomfortable because I had money back here and I have money back home. And I have more money in my suitcase probably than their family has made in the last 2 months. And that's uncomfortable. That makes me think about how I'm doing things. Probably 10 years ago, I realized that I was getting very focused on things. You find myself going, well, things will be better when ... when we can have this or do this vacation, or when the kids are done with this or whatever. And I think being content in every situation, and I know Paul talks about that too. I need to find a way to be content with what I have and not always longing for the next thing. What we do can help equip people to fulfill that purpose that God has for them that maybe they wouldn't have been able to before. I mean, maybe they would have just had to go to work every day or go to work when they can work in order to feed their family and keep a roof over their house, and they wouldn't have the ability to do that. Where the programs that we're offering and the assistance that we can provide people and the knowledge that we're teaching them hopefully will help them have that solid foundation that then will allow them to pray more to God. Like, what else can I do? Is there a mission that I can start? Something that I can be doing to help others? But if we can build a foundation here, that builds them up to where they can start thinking about, what is God calling me to do? Christy had started kind of introducing me to some of the people. She would basically say, it's my job to go find money. And, a lot of them would, laugh, but it was like a happy laugh, like not laughing at it. And then, like, yes and amen. And one of the women in particular said, I'll pray for you.
Okay, she's going to put your name in her prayer book. That's serious business.
That really touched me, because it's like, in everything else you have going on, you're going to take the time to pray for me every day. And then she turned around and asked Christy to write my name down so she could pray for me by name. And that really, that really affected me. Because in the middle of everything else that she's dealing with, she's going to take the time to pray for me. That inspires me. That inspires me to go out and do my job well so that I can build them up with the talents that I've been given. I've got a lot to sit and think about, but I know that I have the inspiration, the experiences that I hoped I would have from being here to go out and do my job as best as I can. I know these entries have probably been all over the place, but that's kind of where my mind has been pretty much since I landed in Haiti. It is a beautiful, desperate, amazing, sad place all at once. God's beauty is everywhere, but in the midst of that, there's a lot of pain and suffering, and that's real. And I really want to make a difference in trying to help with that.